Has this ever happened to anyone else out there? You go to look for something you finished last year just to realize you only got halfway through and never actually finished it? Or is that just me? Anyways, that's this video. A year late, but hopefully some useful information in this one. This was shot well before the other incident involving these models. What's that knocking? An insurance salesman? Jehovah's Witnesses? Your weird Aunt Cheryl? Nope. It's cracked gears. While lifelike's Proto 2000 and Proto 1000 ranges of locomotives still hold up today, the axle gears on many of these locomotives have not. The plastic compound used to make these gears has shrunk with age. With a metal axle inside, this stresses the plastic until it cracks, resulting in a thumping, knocking sound from the engine and other problems. Fear not, though, as the parts are available, as are a couple different methods of dealing with this problem. The simplest way is to replace the axles on the locomotives with parts supplied by Walthers, the company that acquired Lifelike and thus the Proto 1000 and Proto 2000 product lines. The first step is to pop the keeper plate off the bottom of the truck. These simply clip on at the corners, so a little prying with a small flathead screwdriver should get them free quite easily, or at least easily once you've had a little practice. Now, once you find a grip, you can pull the whole wheel and axle assemblies out. They will just slide right out with the keeper plate removed. The wheels, bearings, and gears are all one assembly. Here's the magic item. Last time I bought them, the product number was 920-584408. Each pack includes 2 assemblies, so a 4-axle locomotive like an F unit will require 2 packs to completely renew the axle gears. If one gear has gone, the rest are likely about to go if they haven't already, so doing the whole locomotive at once is best practice. With the axles out of the trucks, one has the best access to the gears inside the gear tower that one will likely have for a good while, so I went ahead and put a little grease on those gears while I had the opportunity. I put the last of the dab of grease on the new axle gear, then slipped the new axle into place, using a small screwdriver to ensure that the little square brass bearings were lined up properly to go into the metal inner frame of the truck. Once both new wheel and axle assemblies are in place, you can snap the keeper plate back in place and move on to the next truck. Before running, however, it's a good idea to put a little oil on the axles for the bearings. Brand new from the factory, those assemblies could very well be dry. A drop of oil is cheap insurance. On these engines, I also took the shell off momentarily and loosened the decoder to oil the motor and worm gear bearings. Between that, the freshly oiled new bearings, and the fresh grease on the gears, this should be a fully lubricated model. Once there are new wheel and axle assemblies all around and some basic lubrication, the model should be good to go. There is another method where you only replace the gear, but it's a tad more complicated. There is an Athern part. I last saw it listed as SD40 gears, which is the same kind of gear, but with a slightly smaller inner bore. You can pull your existing wheel sets apart, bore the gear out slightly with a small drill bit, and press the wheels and bearings into the new gear. You will have to check the wheels against a gauge to make sure they are pressed into the correct distance if you go this route. You can then reinstall the assemblies just like they were new from there. It's a less expensive but more involved method. Fast forwarding a little, here are the 2 engines on their new wheels with a little power to the bench track. Throttle up. Well, they're powerful enough to plow into the junk pile. Good for service. This is a very common problem for many of the Proto 1000 and 2000 diesels, but because it is common, Walthers and others have made parts available that make it about as easy as a fix can get. Hopefully this was of some help. Stay safe out there, and enjoy this great hobby of ours.